While driving home in rush hour traffic on a Friday afternoon on a cold winter day, I was lost in thought thinking about my week, the coming weekend, and Christmas, which was just a few weeks away. Christmas is my favorite holiday. I love Christmas lights adorning homes along the highway, homemade cookies, and having my family together. My thoughts were uninterrupted when my phone rang. It was my daughter. It was quite common for us to chat while I was driving. Her usual greeting was, "Hi, Mama." But this day, something felt different. I pulled off the highway. The words that she could barely utter are forever branded into my brain. She said, "I don't know how to tell you this, but Connor is dead. You see, Connor is my son." I screamed at the top of my lungs, gripping the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white. My breath was taken away. I yelled at God and asked, How? How did this happen? How could I survive the loss of a second child? This took me back to my nightmare of 27 years earlier when I suffered the loss of my firstborn. A parent's worst nightmare is to have a child die before them. It is not the natural order of things. With the first loss of my first child, I looked everywhere for help and resources and could not find them. I felt like I walked this journey alone. I scrambled and clawed my way to my new norm by creating and using my own methods along the way. Now, between the loss of my first child and second child, I experienced other family deaths. What I discovered is that the things I designed to help heal from my first loss helped me with my others that followed. So putting it all together, I knew I would survive this one. In that moment of grief, as long as it is not easy to understand the whys. Why did they pass so young? Why did it have to be cancer or taking their own life? Why, oh, why, God? I could not answer the question, but I can answer it now. God has been preparing me to face more losses and help others by equipping me with multiple tools and resources. God is not responsible for my losses. However, He has given me the strength and courage to overcome the heartache. I can say I have been able to move through my grief. It has not always been easy or pain-free. It takes time. The ratio of sadness to joy is no longer 100% sadness and 0% joy. Now it is closer to 5 or 10% sadness and 90 to 95% joy. And then eventually I found purpose to move forward. I help grieving moms. That is when I wrote the book Life After Child Loss and became a grief coach. Now, not everyone who loses a child will write a book or become a grief coach. You can move through your loss and move on to your new norm and find happiness. That is a perfectly good place to be. Now, in the next 40 minutes, I'm going to share with you 3 of my most requested tips for moving through your grief and child loss. Number 1, how to use mindset. Number 2, how to use exercise. And number 3 is imagery. Regardless of how long you've been on this journey, you could be asking yourself, how will I survive this loss? You could only be focusing on making it through the day, or you're overwhelmed, emotionally and physically exhausted. Or possibly you start seeking ways to move through your grief by joining grief groups, listening to podcasts, and reading books, yet your grief is keeping you from moving forward in life. Or you are engaging in your healing with intention and you really want to move forward in spite of your loss. Now, if this is you, my 8-week coaching program where we meet over Zoom is the perfect opportunity to learn practical tools so you can move through your grief. I believe that if you are dealing with the loss of a child, my personal experience, unique perspective to moving through your grief, and my proprietary processes are the best ways to learn to deal with your emotions, overcome health challenges, and find joy. Sonia is one of my coaching clients, and we were in one of our sessions when she asked me, Peggy, how do I respond to this question? How many children do you have? Now I explained to her that she could say 3 children and 1 in heaven, or 4 children and leave it at that. She liked having different ways to respond and would have them ready when the next person asked about her children. The first part of my presentation that I want to share with you is working through your emotions with your mindset. Now, how can mindset help in your grief loss? The Child Loss Club is never understood until you are forced into it, and other people may not try to understand, yet cannot actually walk in your shoes. So writing down your thoughts in a journaling way is a way that they spill out of your head to help you feel like somebody utterly understood, even if that somebody was a pad of paper. The paper does not judge. The journal is a safe place to express your thoughts, releasing some guilt, having a safe place to cry, and get out anger. It is the best friend because it holds your secrets and fears. It will most likely become tear-stained. It does not matter how the page looks. What is important is that your thoughts are out of your head. While writing them down may leave you exhausted, they also help you heal. What kind of journal? Well, buy a notebook that will be special to you. You may want a simple school composition notebook, or one that is colorful, possibly with flowers or design that makes you feel good. You can get the wide ruled or college lines. Now, I personally use the wide rule because when I'm on a roll with my writing, my words get big and take a lot of room. But I do need some structure. You may find a blank notebook suits your needs. Choose whatever is right for you. Now, if you're concerned about keeping your journal safe, there are a couple options that keeps it for your eyes only. You can purchase a file box and put it in there and keep the lock and key. You can get a journal that has a lock in it. Remember, a journal has your deeper, innermost thoughts. So make sure it's in a place that you feel is safe so you can actually be vulnerable and write your thoughts. So when you sit down to write, find a place that is safe for you to express your emotions. Suggest at the same time, maybe. I write every morning before getting out of bed. Keep your notebook and pens at your nightstand so you know where they are. If you want to write down your thoughts while they are fresh, carry your journal with you. Journaling at bed may be right for you, and letting go of the day's events. Multiple entries may be what you need. Whenever or how many times you journal is up to you. Journaling is a free flow of your thoughts. There's no judgment, right, wrong, punctuation, or time limit. Open your heart and let it flow. The only thing I recommend is to start each entry by dating it and add the time if writing several times during the day. This will be helpful later. After that, it's all about how you feel. If you're angry, write it down, including why you are angry. It may seem obvious that you're angry because your child passed away, but there's other things that come up. Maybe somebody cut you off in traffic and we're lashing out at them. Somebody was rude to you, or your husband does not understand why you didn't make dinner and stayed in your pajamas all day. You may be feeling guilty for what happened. The parent guilt is so one of the worst feelings. Write it down. You may be sad. What triggered your sadness? Write it down. By getting it out on paper, you process thoughts and emotions and see you're not insane. Get it all out. You may also want to talk to your child. Write a love letter to them and say the things that you never had a chance. And you may be compelled to talk about what happened during the day. Yes, that is a one-sided conversation, yet it allows you to feel connected. Write it down. I believe your child hears and sees you. Let them know you still love them and think of them. Now, confusion and desperation can seep into your thoughts. Writing them down helps with clarity and possible solutions. Journaling is also a place to remember your loved one. I think one of the greatest fears of a parent is that their child will be forgotten and that the memories will fade away. With that fear, you try to keep all those memories in your head at all times, which is impossible to do. Write down memories so they are preserved forever and you have space for more. There will be more times, places, and events that pop into your head. Write them down, and then you can come back and revisit them. A journal is also a place to think about the future. What does your life look like without your child? What does your future look like with your other children? And how are you going to make it through this season? Put it all in your journal. Put it all in there. By now, you can see that anything goes with journaling, expressing what comes to mind. It is a safe place. You can cry and most likely will. It is a way to heal. It is the simplest ways of all to process. And so I have mentioned several ways to journal, but if you are new to journaling or stuck or do not know where to begin, here are some sample journaling prompts. Today, I am really missing blank about my child. Number 2, the hardest time of day is blank, and writing through that. I have been feeling blank, sad, angry. I was triggered by blank event, blank person, or blank thought. You may also consider how losing your child has changed you, writing that down, and how loving your child changed you as well. Journaling is something you can use in the next hour or later tonight and anytime. Something else that helps with your mindset and emotions is affirmations. As you know, dealing with emotions does not happen overnight. Mindset is a collection of thoughts, patterns, beliefs that shape your view of reality. It is a story that you tell yourself about your identity and about the world around you. Changing your mindset is one of the most beneficial things you can do to help deal with your emotions. It is also one of the hardest. You have probably heard the saying, mind over matter. It is a phrase that refers to one's ability to use subconscious thoughts or to conquer physical limitations. It is also subconscious thoughts that control our mind. Bringing this together, you control your emotions and physical activity by changing your subconscious thoughts. Now, within those subconscious thoughts are the lies that you tell yourself. Do you tell yourself you do not know how to overcome your loss? You could be telling yourself that you do not deserve happiness, you're responsible for your child's passing, or even that you cannot live without them now or ever. You may be saying them to yourself. Someone else may be telling you these same things, or it can be a combination of these people telling you these things that it creeps into your subconscious mind. It is no wonder you are having difficulty working through your emotions when there are untruths guiding every decision you make. The more you think the same thoughts over and over and over, the more ingrained they come into your mindset. These thoughts literally form pathways in your brain by connecting neurons over and over again. It's a well-worn path. If you walk the same path over and over and over, you will wear down that grass in that particular area. That happens in your brain as well, where it reinforces the neural pathways. Now, your mind, your brain, is exceptionally good at keeping you from harm. It wants to keep you from pain, even though pain is necessary to move through your grief. So changing your mindset and subconscious thoughts are a bit harder to work through. You must be vulnerable to the possibility of pain and willing to walk through it to heal. It takes a little digging to uncover subconscious thoughts, what your mind is telling you. Your subconscious mind has incredible power in controlling your life experiences, your response to grief, anger, guilt, and sadness. Once you have uncovered what is lying beneath the surface, affirmations are a good way to reroute and rewire your thoughts. Instead of believing you will never get over your loss, you will have hope for a future. You can release guilt because you believe you did things right. Now, while doing affirmations does change what you believe and ultimately your conscious thoughts and actions, rewiring your brain takes time, effort, and guidance. They need to be written specifically because if written incorrectly, they will do more harm than good. I met with Carol last week over Zoom. She's one of my clients, and she told me she'd been very anxious the week before. She found some information online about affirmations and thought she could do them by herself. She shared the ones I wrote. She wrote, I immediately knew the reason for her angst. Her affirmations were written incorrectly and causing her to be anxious. Now, Sarah, another client, worked with me to find the subconscious thoughts and wrote her affirmations. We worked together to do that. And in less than a week, she was seeing a shift in her energy, seeing things in a positive way, and even crying less. So this is what I have to offer about mindset. Let's move to the second part of my presentation about exercise. Julie is one person that signed up for my 8-week coaching program on Zoom. She asked me how much water she should be drinking per day. And I told her that she should be drinking 1/2 of her body weight in ounces of water. As a 150-pound woman, her goal is to drink 75 ounces of water per day. So grief is not just mental health, it impacts physical health, and physical health impacts mental health. So some of the physical health symptoms may include migraines, insomnia, extreme weight gain or loss, chronic pain and inflammation, diabetes, heart attack, stroke, high blood pressure, and even death. Grief will also weaken your immune system, making you prone to colds, flu, and an increased risk of autoimmune diseases. You may be experiencing one or many of these symptoms. Ignoring your health will not make it get better. As a matter of fact, the longer you deny it, the higher the risk of extensive physical challenges. Grief can suck you into the couch, having unhealthy habits, eating unhealthy, and unable to do anything. So physical care, exercise is a part of that. There's others such as sleep and meditation, nutrition, and hydration. But because exercise is such an important area in your grief journey, we will be talking about it as a standalone topic. So how can exercise help in grief? It can help elevate your mood, help with disease prevention, turn around illness, reduce isolation. It can help manage weight, improve your ability to focus, and offer a sense of control, often lost when we've lost a child. Now, there are 4 basic types of exercise: aerobic, strength, stretch, and balance. We will briefly talk about each one. And I want to caution, if you're new to exercise, please remember to consult with your physician before beginning any exercise routine. Cardiovascular exercise is the first type I want to introduce. The importance of cardiovascular exercise is to work your heart and reduce your risk for heart disease. So it can reduce inflammation, reduce pain, help us sleep, improve focus, reduce anxiety. All of these are greatly beneficial. And one I haven't mentioned yet is that through exercise, it boosts your mood by releasing the feel-good hormones, epinephrine and norepinephrine. It helps to reduce your stress, and even elevating your heart rate can release anger and guilt. Some examples of aerobic exercise are brisk walking, running, jogging, dancing, playing tennis. The important piece is that you're bringing up your heart rate. The second type of exercise is strength. Doing strength building exercises are important for keeping your bones and muscles strong, keeps you moving into your future. And it takes attention and focus to work on muscles in weight training. And it teaches your brain to think about something different. It's also an outlet for built up energy, and lifting heavy things can be soothing for your soul. The third type of exercise is flexibility. You want to be able to continue to be able to tie your shoes, put on your coat, or buckle your seatbelt. And flexibility can be achieved by simple stretches or practicing yoga. And yoga, along with stretching, is found to be calming and useful in grief. Many yogis focus on gratitude. Being grateful can reduce stress and anxiety. And the fourth and final exercise area is balance. Helps you to prevent falls and maintaining your quality of life. When we're already in grief and have heavy emotions, we want to make sure that we're not injuring ourselves. And it's also a way to have us divert our focus onto something that we're doing for ourselves versus being in our grief. You can do that by walking heel to toe, standing on balance equipment, but I suggest you challenge yourself. Exercise is also a good way to develop community. You may exercise outdoors, time with those who are supporting you. Being outdoors is a place to ground yourself and connect with nature. You can even do that in COVID, and joining a gym is an option too. There are classes that you can attend, or you can join an online community where you can be challenged and encouraged. So exercise is an important piece in physical and mental healing after loss. You can choose one or several of the modes. Remember, exercise helps increase energy, improve your mood, reduce inflammation, improve autoimmune diseases, lower risk of heart attack, cancer, and stroke, reduces anxiety, stress, and depression. So people always ask me this question, Peggy, what is the best exercise? I tell them the best exercise is the one you will do and be consistent with. I find that people like to begin their exercise journey with walking. The goal can be 10,000 steps, or if you don't do that many, keep track of how many you do for 3 days, 2 weekdays and 1 weekday. You can download an app or you can buy a step tracker and take that average and then add 10% of those steps for a goal. Each week, add another 5 to 10%. So walking helps increase your energy, improve your mood, and reduce inflammation. So according to the American College of Sports Medicine, they recommend doing full body weight training 2 to 3 times a week. And to maximize the benefits, these need to be designed scientifically. And so I must say that understanding how to design these workouts are much better answered at a later time due to the complexity. I've now told you what I know about exercise, and our third and final part of the presentation is about using imagery to heal from child loss. So I found this quote by Oprah, and I applied it to grief. And here it is, quote, "Radical acceptance applies to every crisis, every difficulty, every challenge in your life. Stress comes from wanting to be what it isn't and doesn't change until you first accept it for what it is. Then make a decision as what to do next." We all agree that child loss is a terrible place to be. Parents expect their children to outlive them. Whether your child's death is sudden, unexpected, or anticipated, it does not make it any easier. In this part of the presentation, I will walk you through a visualization exercise that allows you to accept grief, that it is more about life than death. An example of this is that only remember the days my children died. I can recall those days with detail, or I can think about how my children lived. Knowing that grief is unique and each and every one of you gets permission to decide about your life and choose to live moving forward. Now, my son took his own life and I miss him terribly. I also know that I can't allow his decisions to ruin my life. Now, I don't know how your child passed away. I am sorry you are going through this. What I do know is that you can make a choice to focus on sadness or focus on healing, self-growth, and hope. Try this visualization exercise to help you move forward. So close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. And have both feet on the ground. Are you ready? Imagine that you have decided to go for a hike in the mountains. You've plotted your path and know that you want to summit the mountain. You start off on the pathway with open fields, yellow daisies, and bluebell flowers are scattered everywhere. It's peaceful. The path is clearly marked and there are no questions where you are going. You can see the bright sky and have not yet started walking into the trees. As you continue your walk, there are more trees lining the path. The trail is well marked and you are eager to continue. You pass by other travelers who are coming down from their hike. You ask them, "How was it?" And they say, "Glorious." You were delighted to hear that and continue to walk. After some time, the trees become denser and denser and the path less traveled. At one point, you're unsure as whether to follow the trail to the left or the right. You decide on the trail on the right and continue to walk, now stepping over logs and rocks on the path deep into the forest. Suddenly, you come to a big ravine that is impassable. You still want to reach the top and are not going to give up. You look around for ways to go through the ravine, but find it is entangled with brambles, too steep to get down or back up, with no one to help. This ravine is like your grief, tangled in rerouting your path, your life. You manage to backtrack on the trail to the point where it split off. You can choose either to continue your hike with the summit in mind or turn around defeated, saying that it was too tough and you cannot survive. You make the choice to continue to the summit, and this time the trail is clear and you experience the glories of nature, the trees, hear the songs of the birds, smell the flowers, and even spot a deer. When you get to the top of that mountain, you can see everything that is around you, including the ravine that temporarily stopped you in your tracks. You realize that your grief, like the ravine, stops you for a while until you figure out what are your next steps. Grief is just a piece of your life and it does not define you. Take a moment, take a deep breath, and realize that you indeed have a good life. As you return down that mountain, you run into other travelers who ask you, how was it? You respond by telling them it was glorious. You made the choice to live, enjoy, and move forward, even when you prefer to not have to. Congratulations. Go ahead and open your eyes, and you can come back to this visualization exercise when you're feeling overwhelmed, sad, or angry. You can do this anytime, anywhere, and as often as you want. Another area of imagery is using vision boards and being able to focus on the future. When done correctly, they can give hope, inspiration, focus, and motivation. A vision board is a concrete representation of your desires and aspirations for a compelling life. It is a collage of items that are meant to kickstart your imagination and help you visualize your goals. How can a vision board help with grief? Well, when you're ready to move forward in your grief journey, it's helpful to realize what your life might look like after you begin the healing process. The idea of a vision board is to help you visualize what you want your life to look back. I know some of you are thinking, I can't visualize a life without blank. You fill in the blank. But I assure you that at some point through your grief journey, you will have to think about answering what's next in your life. The vision board is a tool to keep you focused on a vision of your life and the details of what you want for yourself. It actually helps you get out of being stuck and think and envision your future desires. The key here is future desires. As difficult as it is, you cannot wish for that which is what you cannot have and what is in the past. A few pointers on using vision boards. It needs to be kept in a prominent place in your home where you will see it multiple times throughout the day. Mine is on a table across from my bed every morning and every night, and throughout the day I see it. I use this time to visualize each area as if it has already happened. You want to see, hear, feel, and smell those moments in the future. Use those senses to ingrain the results in your brain. Use your emotions as well. Will you be happy? Will you be, dancing around, be excited? I've completed vision boards over the years, and I found ones that work and ones that have not. The best ones I've done are the ones I spent time thinking about, meditating on, and praying for. I plan them to the greatest detail because they hold my future, the future that I want. They encompass extremely specific areas of my life and play a huge role in living my dreams. It takes me about 2 months to pull everything together. I look at where I am in life and where I want to go. That includes parts of my loss journey. It's been almost 2 years since my second child died, and the first year I was not ready to create a memorial. Going into the second year, I realized that I wanted a tree at the skate park. So a picture of the tree at the skate park went on my vision board. And that is going to be happening in a few months. Other things that included are my faith, family, career, relationships, health, and my word for the year. This year, my word has been house, literally and figuratively. So these that contain all these different elements are the ones that make a difference. There is so much more to vision boards. I wish I had the time to go through it with you. So just yesterday, when I was on a consultation call, a bereaved mother felt so lost and lonely. She had no idea where to turn for help or even that help was available. After we talked, she has hope to increase her energy and process her loss. She wants to be present for her family, move forward in her life, yet still remember her child. One of the most common questions that people ask me is, Peggy, how do I get in touch with you to find out more? I tell them I make it easy to schedule a consultation call. Schedule the word consultation to 719-789-6808. Let me spell that word. It's a little tongue twister. Consultation, CONSULTATION. All lowercase will work. And you text that word consultation to 719-789-6808 to receive the link to schedule our time together. However, I can honestly say I'm not sure if grief coaching is for you. What I do know is that each one of you deserve the chance to find out. Let's talk and find out. Let's figure it out together. Remember, text the word consultation, CONSULTATION, to this number, 719-789-6808, to receive the link. In our 50 minutes together, you can tell me your story. I want to hear it. I will ask you some questions and make sure I understand you. Then I will let you know what I have going on, and you can ask me questions. I care, I understand, I've been through this. I started helping mothers in their child loss grief because when I went through my first loss, I had to figure out on my own how to heal. I developed my own resources. My husband did not understand. He was not there for me. I felt alone. I was on my journey by myself. So now I bear witness to your loss like no other person can. We are in this child loss club together. I am your resource. I know what it's like to have your world turned upside down. Now that you know I'm a grief coach, I think each one of you should work with someone to get some support that you so desperately want. What is important is that you move forward. Before you decide, there are 3 criteria I recommend you use to help you determine who you will work with. Number 1, consider, does the person you want to work with have practical experience with child loss? Remember, I've been through it twice and created my own unique tools. Number 2, does this person have the passion to be working as a grief coach? I really believe lost travelers deserve to have support and guidance to learn to live with their grief and find joy. Number 3, have they personally used the tools and techniques they offer to you? The tools I share with you are 100% responsible for me being here and able to offer you my support. I know deep down the resources I developed and use in my coaching practice will work for you. Now, there are a number of people that put it off or try it on their own. They come back to me a year later saying they wish they would have done it earlier. I don't think you want to be one of those who wait for a year and look back and see that you've been stuck in your grief, your relationships have suffered, and your health has declined. I will leave you with this. After my child's second passing, I started posting on Facebook. I was being vulnerable in sharing my heartache, confusion, desperation, and despair. Now, having the mindset that my posts were courageous and that they were not just about grief, they also included my methods and tips on how I was dealing with the loss. There were many people who were responding to my posts. They shared with me they were benefiting by what I was posting. Some of them were talking about their child or their parents or other difficulties they were experiencing. It was here that I knew that I was onto something and that I was meant to help others. I am blessed to have built the resources to move through my grief and apply them to child loss once again.